Hello, everyone, and welcome to my podcast. My name is Tiffany, and my husband and I are the owners of Creative Designs by Tiffany, a flower shop and event space located in upstate New York. I've been tending to feature things and people who have a depth to them. There it goes. What originally started as a podcast to give you a little bit of knowledge about the floral industry has grown to hold some of the most meaningful conversations of my life. I hope it gets you thinking and blesses you in its own right. So today, hi Dave, producer.
Hey,
how
hello.
are you doing today?
How you doing?
No
I'm
floating
here.
camera, so you're right there.
No.
Perfectly. Look
Yeah.
at that. That's good.
No,
Oh, okay. See, that's
I don't like my background yet.
Oh, that's
No, I'll get it.
That's all right.
You know,
As
one
long
of
as
these
there's no
days.
like dancing heads behind you or anything, you know, like that. That's good.
There could be that.
So-
Could be any minute.
So today's podcast actually is going to go back to the original, which is kind of exciting, about the floral industry and a little bit of knowledge about that. And then the whole flower shop event space located in upstate New York. Intentionally always said that because we were located in Dallesville, and now we actually just expanded to Little Falls,
Cool.
which is really, really cool because my Little Falls, of course, this is where the podcast is. So kind of like a homecoming in a way, even though we're only 10 minutes north-ish. Well, 10 minutes north with the store. We live even further north than that, but you know.
Yeah, you live in the woods. So
Yeah, an extension, we'll say, of it. So
Yeah.
really excited about that. So the reason why I said, you know what, I'm going to do a podcast is because, A, I haven't done one in probably 6-7 weeks. So trying to keep up with that and hitting my goals,
Yeah,
which
you were doing. Your goal was one a month.
I know it was. And I'm like, I looked and I think I've done like 8 or so. I'm on track for this year.
Are
I'm
you?
good. I'm pretty good. Well, I count Scott and Kelly because they were just on the cusp of the new year. So I count them for
okay.
this
All
year.
right, all right.
So we're getting good with that. But I said, well, I'll do this anyway because the funniest thing was that when I started, Dallesville, we did the event space and the flower shop. I don't even know how I ended up talking with you about doing a podcast about flowers. Cycle 2-3 years later, I covered religion, politics, all that great stuff. And the funnier thing yet is that, so when you have a business, you would think people know you for your business.
Right.
And so what happened was, since I've been, puttering around in Little Falls working on things, people who have come in, who have all been great, by the way, every single person is like, oh, you have a podcast. I didn't know you had a flower shop in Dallesville. And I was like, isn't that odd how that works? So I don't know if it's
reversed.
It's in reverse because I said, I think it must just be because it's my Little Falls and everyone knows. But I was like, nope, I've had a flower shop for about, 5 years up in Dallesville. Oh, we didn't even realize. So a lot of questions of, well, what are you going to be doing in here? And I said, well, it'll be a flower shop still. So it's very exciting. And I'll kind of tell the brief story of it too today. So like I said, this will be on loop. Maybe Scott mentioned maybe have it on loop in the store so everyone can just hear the story without me having to repeat it.
You put
10
a TV
times.
up there and it just runs this podcast.
This would be great.
We could do that.
Yeah, because I telling the story over and over again. That's part of the reason why I love doing the podcast is you can listen to it at your leisure and you still hear the bird's eye view and none of the rumors and all that stuff too.
Yeah.
So I love that about it. So what happened was we're into almost the middle of, we are the middle of July right now.
Yeah, it's like the 15th is right in the middle of the middle.
Yeah, exactly. So, hey, it is perfect right there. So what happened was I'll start back about 5 years ago. Journey back with me now. So
Journey back. Wait. There's a.
Is there
there is
creative music with
There
it?
is creative music for that. I'm trying to think.
Beautiful. That's great. So,
Gonna
yes.
Journey back.
5 years ago, when I first started my store in Dallesville, I had a young girl who was a senior who had come in and interviewed me, and I couldn't tell you what class it was for. It was just something that she wanted to interview a business owner, and then one of the questions that she asked me was, what is one of my goals? And so the funny story is, and I haven't even told Shelly this, so I'll have to tell her this, was I said, one of my goals is, obviously to have a flower shop, a couple of other goals in it too, but I said, maybe long term, it would be kind of cool to have a second or third shop that's kind of an extension. And I always looked up to Designs by Shelly, which was down here in Little Falls. And I said, it'd be kind of cool maybe one day if that was years down the road that we kind of expanded down there. And so fast forward now 5 years later, a crazy turn of events. I'll name drop here a little bit. So there's a woman named Lisa who is at one of the churches in town. She had called me and she had asked about doing some flowers for the church. And me being the person that I am, I'm a terrible businesswoman in this sense. I could have just taken the order and said, that's great, thank you so much. But what I did was I said, I want to check with Shelly, who had done them before, which is Designs by Shelly, again, in Little Falls, just to make sure that, like, you know, she wasn't planning on retiring, but still keeping up that account, because that does happen sometimes. So what I did was I had reached out to Shelly, and I don't even know, we talked about this, just somehow it happened. It just, all of a sudden, I was in her building. We were talking about how she was retiring, but didn't want to see the shop leave Little Falls.
Right.
And she had built 39 years, I believe, 35 years specifically in Little Falls in that location, of hard work, labor, and, you know, clients, and everything that me in 5 years have been trying to achieve. She grew that within 39 years. So it's pretty amazing how that happens, and how kind of we, it just is, it's basically, like I told her, just a huge gift to us, to be able to take it on for her and hopefully run with it now. So logistically, we are still going to be called Creative Designs by Tiffany, and it's a Little Falls location. And right now, the building, if you've been in the Designs by Shelly spot, it was an open canvas because all of her stuff ended up going to her daughter, who is starting a flower shop in Arizona.
That's pretty cool.
So it is pretty cool. So it's like, it's half, I could have just taken everything that she had and just ran with it. However, it was kind of nice because now it's a fresh slate and it's very empty if you've been in there. So I'm looking at it now and I'm still trying to figure out, well, what are we going to put in here? So that's a work in progress. So stay tuned for that. But that's one of the things that it's kind of nice in a way because I can put my own spin on it, own touch on it too, without having all of the things that she had in there too.
There's a lot of stuff in there.
Well, that's what someone came in the other day and they said you could walk. There was a path.
There was a path.
There was a path, and that was it.
And so you could get up to the counter.
Yes, and if you come over now, you'll be able to see that the landlord had refinished the floor, which is in between because it had always had stuff on it. So it was a really cool, quick transition. Like, hey, are you moving stuff in right away? And I said, I really don't have anything to move in. I have what I literally split my store in Dallesville in half and brought down half of the tables and chairs and things like that, and so it worked out. The floors are refinished. They're beautiful. I don't even want to work on them just because wood floors, when they get redone, it's just beautiful. I've been very hesitant to wiping everything up real quickly.
Then you start pull a chair out, you put a scrape there, and you're like, oh my God.
Exactly. And then over the years, obviously, it's a flower shop. So there's water, right? So every little piece of water that I'm dripping, I'm quickly wiping it up just because it looks so beautiful and stuff. So it's a learning process with that. And, over time, I'm sure it'll be worn again. But right now, it's that beautiful new floor feeling.
Did they re-sand it a little bit and then coat it?
Yep. So it looks gorgeous. So you'll have to stop in and see it. And right now, before it gets cluttered up with anything else, that's what I'm telling people. Enjoy it now because I don't know what's going to go on the floor in the next few months or year or whatever.
Right.
So it's exciting with that. And the phone number, we kept the same phone number. So it's
what is that? Do you remember?
315-823-4352. I have to remember it because I dialed it from my husband's phone just to see if it rang through, and I dialed 4532.
And you were going,
I said, it didn't work. Those Spectrum people, I don't know what they're doing. I looked and I was like, oh, yep, it was 4352 the whole time. So same location, same phone number. Different name, obviously, because we have to take it over that way, but same quality. Some of the girls that have helped Shelly out over the years, they've still volunteered to stay on for whatever I need them for. So at Christmas time, when it gets crazy and stuff like that, you'll still see them bopping in around. And as I told Shelly, too, this is her 39-year work, and she's welcome anytime. So, hopefully when you stop in, she'll be in there too, maybe. You'll catch her.
That'd be cool. Yeah.
That would be pretty neat, I think. And, I don't think she has any immediate plans to come back soon, but I'm sure within the next year she'll be around. So keep your eye out too for that. So it's kind of a new venture. Like I said, the Little Falls community so far has been great. A little bit more walkers around and stuff. We have the regulars in town that I always see in Dallesville. Little Falls, I'm starting to get used to the landscape of who you see right about 8 o'clock when they're walking up the road, and then in the afternoons and stuff. Sunday afternoons, we've been here a lot working on Sunday afternoons, so we see what goes on then. So it's been pretty exciting, but that's basically the 10-minute, we'll say, how long did it take? 5-minute story, long story of the expansion of the store.
Almost 10.
Right? So that's good because that's perfect because the other part of it that I want to address immediately too with this is everyone, once they started rumbling, because things happen very quickly. Do you realize that in a small town, like it's a blessing and in disguise, but it has to be the right thing, right? So I had people, we were trying to figure it out. This, like I said, happened within a couple of weeks. Very smooth transition.
You notice I didn't bug you,
right?
After you told me about it, I left you alone.
And I said, "That's the news guy, you know,
it's like,
right?
Want to do a story? Want to do a story? Want to do a story?"
Well, and I think everyone kind of wondered about that too. And
they were.
And the funny thing is that you know, I said it happened so quickly. Normally, these things take 6, 7, 8 months, almost a year to transition everything. This happened, you know, you're talking to New York State sales tax, getting extensions and changing out, you know, Spectrum. And
probably
changing
like
out.
3 weeks, right?
It was crazy. It has. It's only been about 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So her final day officially was June 30th, and she had no intentions of anybody taking it over. And we swooped in for July 1. So it was so fast. Like,
and we're only at July 15th.
Exactly. So it's still moving.
You talked a week prior to that, and then
exactly. So it moved very, very quickly, and just kind of figuring all of that stuff out. And you know, one of the major things, like I said too, was the other side we're going to address immediately now. We're not closing Dallashville. We are keeping Dallashville. So how is that going to happen?
You should have led with that.
I know. I should have, you know, but now it's the Little Falls Mar. I don't know. Whatever. Who listens to this podcast anyway? Who knows? We'll see.
Evidently a lot of people, because they...
yes, that is very true.
They knew you did a podcast.
That is true.
And had no
they don't
idea.
know I had a flower shop, but they knew I did a podcast.
Exactly.
So the funny thing is like I said, that small town feeling, everyone was thinking I was closing Dallashville. And Dallashville is so close to my heart because I built that just like Shelly did her 35, 39 years here in Little Falls. So that is going to stay open. We obviously have the event space, so we're going to utilize that a little bit more too. So Saturdays right now, and because of weddings and things that we have, Saturdays we are not open at either location. So that allows us to do all of our events, all of our off-site events for weddings and flowers and all of that. So moving forward, I think that probably will still be the model. I think Saturdays are a tough one in a small business because it can be crazy busy, or it can be everybody's doing their own thing. There's basketball games in the winter, and then there's going to, you know, football games out in Buffalo, or then going and traveling because you have the day off. So Saturdays have never really been real busy for me. So moving forward, I tend to think both places will probably be closed on a Saturday. So that, like I said, will allow for events still up on the weekends.
Well, you need to
Dallashville.
keep that events facility busy because that's a real jewel right there.
Yes, and
especially since it was just put on the register.
That's what I saw.
Little story on that.
Yes,
you saw
and
that.
I think I had people in the store when you came through, and we're doing the article, and I was like, I wonder if he's going to come through or not now during this. So it's great, and it's very exciting too in that sense because it is one of the historic landmark buildings in Dallashville. You can't get any better in Dallashville.
Well, she's done an incredible job on restoring that building.
Absolutely.
Oh my God.
And those windows, you can't beat it, you know.
No,
Shelly had come up to my store in Dallashville when this was all going on in between, and you know, she walked in.
I bet she loved it.
Yes, she absolutely loved it. So it's one of those things that not anytime soon or in the foreseeable future are we thinking of anything of closing down Dallashville. So that's going to be a lot of time management on my part right now because it's kind of quiet. July is always very quiet for flowers. It is literally I run to Dallashville, I do everything I need to there, come down to Little Falls, then run back up to Dallashville to finish out the day. So hopefully in September that'll ease up a little bit. But we're all over the place. Let's put it that way. We'll go all over. So
why is it slow in the month of July?
I think it's because people are just doing a lot of stuff. I tend to
out at camp and stuff, and there's not really an occasion for flowers.
Yes, and in a market like Dallashville, which is where I was previously, Dallashville is a very small community. One of the things and hubs is the school, and so when school is shut down, a lot of people, they have time off. They can go on vacations. The kids are home. There's more stuff to do. It's not so much as the mundane everyday, let's send someone flowers to get through their day, because everybody's just like, hey, let's go to the pool, you know, or let's go get ice cream, you know. So July is...
And flowers don't enter the equation.
No, and you know, the warm weather too, when it's this hot, like it's not good to leave them out for a long time. They don't last quite as long. There are the farmers markets, and they have all the wildflowers and stuff like that too. So this time of year is always really quiet, which is the perfect transition month too to kind of get into this. But thank God it's not Valentine's Day. That's when I started at my first store. It was a Valentine's Day swing. So,
good Lord.
So it'll be interesting moving forward, but this does give me a little bit of time to kind of get my feet wet and see what's going on. One of the things that Shelly had done, which I have never done, and we'll address this part too because it's the flower part. If you know what teleflora is, I think we talked about this. Teleflora
Way back you did, like a couple of years ago.
FTD, I'm trying to think of all the flower
1-800-Flowers.
Yes,
yeah.
all of those services. So
why do I know all this?
I know. Over the years, right? Because it is. It's
Yeah.
easy. You go online and stuff. So that's one of the extensions that was Shelly's store. We're trying to keep the same model that we always had, that she had always done, versus the model I did. So
Right.
my model up in Dollarville was that I do all of my own arrangements. It's all my own style. With Shelly's, we're keeping that model, but also keeping what she had done for years. So the online ordering and seeing the standard arrangements, they're still going to be coming through. Something I'm not too familiar with, so I'm leaning on because some of the other girls to kind of go through that. But, that's one of the things that she built really, really well.
Right.
And her delivery area as well was huge. We did cut it back a little bit. And I think it was mainly because there were places she was going to, like in Schoharie and Middleburg. Ooh. And I think that's more where she was kind of from. We've kind of gone more like the Caroga Lake area because that's where I'm from.
Oh,
so,
okay. All right.
From Caroga Lake to, we're going to Ilion, all the way down to Canajoharie, all the way out to St. Johnsville, Oppenheim. So we're looking at in the wintertime too, to extending to kind of the Johnstown area, just because it's a little bit closer to where I am. So we'll see. I mean, it's expansion, room for growth and stuff. So it's exciting in that way, just because, like I said, it's just growth in general is exciting. But then you take it kind of a step at a time. You just don't want to do too much all of a sudden, then you're overwhelmed either. So perfect time of year to do it. So
yeah. Is the floral business, I mean, how's it doing? Is it, there's so much change in business because of the internet and everything else like that.
So that's one of the things that people ask me too about why I would want to take on a second store. And that was, I'll be honest, in Dollarville, I had kind of maxed out. And so at that point, I was thinking about 6 months ago, a year, I just like to be busy. And so, my own personality. I have to be doing something.
Let me have two spots I have to be at the same time.
Yes, exactly. And I have, I have a lot, like I have to be working, and I can't just sit and just wait. So I was finding in Dollarville that I was doing everything that, for the first few years, I was, busy trying to figure it all out. Now I've got a system. So then for 2 hours, you might sit there and not do anything. Well, that's not good for me, personally. That's not good for me. So I told my husband, I'm like, it's a perfect retirement job. It was good. Like, there were some days, if you couldn't get in there till 10 o'clock, you were supposed to be there at 9, it's not a big deal. You kind of move your arrangements around, your orders around, you can make it work. So when this came up, it was this is good because I'd been looking to do something, Stewart's is always available or, doing something like that. And I said, well, this is what I'm good at, so to speak. And I kind of know how to do it. So this is the perfect opportunity that her business was booming. We'll say she didn't retire just because it was it.
Yeah.
Her business is booming. So taking that on and challenging myself alone to be able to take on 2 shops and keep it manageable and all of that stuff, it was kind of the perfect opportunity in that way. So
nice.
With the floral industry in general, yes, the online ordering is a big thing, and that's part of with Dollarville with me that I kind of tapped out. And I said, with how she had structured her business, that'll kind of merge that together again and bring us back in, which is great. It's different. It's very different. I will say the online ordering I'm not a fan of. Still calls directly. Use that phone number. But if you need
what is that phone number again?
315-823-4352. But if you do get in a pinch and it's 11 o'clock on a Saturday night, you can go online, order real quickly, and then we'll have it for the next day for you. So obviously if you want to get the most variety and all we've talked about before on here, call us a couple days ahead. We'll make sure it's fresh for you. That's one of my caveats that it has to be the freshest for you. So I'll throw away flowers at the end of the week just because I won't sell them to you when they're past due, if that makes sense. So merging those two things together, I think it'll work out pretty well with it and stuff. So it's exciting. And honestly, I've heard a couple people kick around too with that space. You could do little events in here even. So
it's small events. How many square feet is that? Like 800 or so?
For insurance, they asked me that. And I said, I think it is just about 1,600 square feet.
Oh, that big?
Yes. And
so twice what I was thinking.
It's pretty large and it's long. And,
it's very long. I knew that.
Yes.
And that backspace, where they did all the arranging and
very
stuff.
Structured, similar to mine, only mine's wide. So that's where I'm thinking it's about the same. Ours is about 1,700 square feet.
Well, you could do something interesting.
So that's what and once everything was moved out and I looked and I was like, uh-oh.
Especially with that beautiful floor. Can't let that go to waste.
Yes, exactly. And I said, oh, this isn't good now. How am I going to fill this in? And I was like, well, I know how to do it with tables and chairs. So I guess that might be the next thing. But,
tables and chairs, that works.
You never know. And that's one of the things, too, that I'm trying to figure out, too, is if how and what people do in Little Falls, because I know the landscape in Dallasville. In Little Falls, I don't really know who does what, and what their niche businesses are. So that'll be a journey to figure out too, because obviously in a small town, you don't want to have two of the same thing unless you're a pizza shop, because pizza shops somehow figure that out. I don't know how.
They have a way to have a lot of them.
I don't know. St. Johnsville, right across from each other, and they both boom. So
well,
I don't know.
But think of fast food.
Yeah.
Why are they on each corner? You have 4 corners and there's fast food.
It's
because they draw traffic to each other. You don't always want McDonald's sometimes. You want Burger King or you want Chick-fil-A or whatever.
That is true.
So, yeah, it's not a bad thing.
There's a method to it. So that's one of the things I love. Lovenheim's, I knew it as Lovenheim's when I grew up, but Pole Legs now.
Pole Legs, yeah.
He's fantastic.
He's great.
I love that
great
guy.
Great neighbor.
And he came right over, and then obviously Sage.
Wants a bait?
Right. Well, Sage, right. And that's coming along, let me tell you. But Sage, of course, she's going to follow me around wherever I am.
Oh, that's awesome.
Someone on Facebook had asked.
Sage is your dog. For those who
yes,
don't know.
Sage is the greeter.
She is the greeter. She will come up to you with hair flying and her tail wagging.
Absolutely. And she has a lot of hair right now.
She has a lot of hair. Yeah, she's shedding.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And she, let's see, we brought her couch in yesterday. So she has a spot to be. And, so she'll be wherever it's
So
most
wait a
cool,
minute. You brought
warmest.
the couch from the other place?
No, this is another couch we brought. Because she has to have a bed for each spot.
I see.
So,
all right. I was wondering how that was going to work.
Yeah. So that's she has her little spot now. So she'll be able to be in there and stuff. And then depending where she likes Dallasville though, because she can walk around. This is city life down here because
she can't walk out there in the street.
Yeah, there's no patch of grass. There's no little squirrels running around. So this is different for her down here in the city. So, but she'll be here as much as I bring her in. So that'll be consistent, definitely.
Well, you could ask Kelly over at Chickweed if you could use the grass every once in a while.
That is true. Well, and looking at all the one-ways and stuff, and I was like, where's the closest patch of grass? Because I was thinking you have to walk back to the park. That's the closest.
Back to Burke Park?
Back to Burke Park. Yeah. And I was like, I don't think there's anything going around. But then I realized if I just walk up that one way, maybe there's something up there. So either way, she'll get used to the landscape of being in a city now.
That's interesting, The big city. She's in the big city now.
Same with me even, it's very different than Dallasville, right? So even though we're only 10 miles away. So right now I'm telling everyone too, like the best way to get a hold of us is to call us. Both numbers still ring right to my cell if I'm not there. Obviously, there's the 2 numbers, the 315-429-8777, and then the 823-4352. And I got to get those right. And the website still, we have the Facebook, Instagram, all of that, all the locations. It's just
so they're going by the same name is what you're saying, right?
Yes, they're going by the same name. And
Creative Designs by Tiffany.
Yep, exactly. Okay. So when we did the New York State sales tax, that was the biggest thing because we had pitched around too of keeping Shelly's name, and then we just are running it for her. But it's just New York State is very complicated. Yeah. So we did the extension of the store in Dallasville, just a second location.
Kind of like a beer license.
Yeah, basically. It was not pretty, I will say. I love New York State. I love New York State, but it was 2 thumbs up. We love New York State. But I will say it was a very, very treacherous application to just have an extension made. So right. If you're looking to expand your business, give me a call and I'll help you out with that that application. But it's one of those things.
Call 1-800-NOT-ME.
Yes, yeah, that's it. It's extensions are. Everyone thought we were closing, so New York State was thinking we were closing, just changing a different location. I said, nope, this is an extension location. So that's where it gets a little hairy that they have to figure it out. But we're all set now. We have the same number, same location, same phone, everything. So now it's official that we can start talking about it. So that's why I figured this podcast would be a good one to explain it on. And it's I think it'll be exciting. Little Falls is a up and coming spot, right? So I think
lots happening.
Yeah, and even being 10 minutes down the road, it just opens up new opportunities, I think.
Well, it is. Store. I mean, it's a different world, Dallasville to Little Falls, and same Little Falls to Herkimer. I mean, they're very unique communities.
Absolutely. So I think it'll be fun to do. I love all the customers. That's my biggest thing, that I get talking with everyone. So I'm going to have to reel that in on busy seasons, but otherwise, I think we should be good. Well, again, that's why the podcast, because I was like, I can't tell this story 50 times over in one day. I won't get any work done. So the delivery drivers, they've been great too, all of my distributors. I met a new delivery driver that is someone that only went to Shelley, never came up north and stuff. Fantastic people. It's the best business to be in, I will say too. So we hope you stop in and see us at either location. You need an event, we could do that. You need an event flowered, we can do that. The flowers, the online, or everything. So,
and for those who don't know the address on Main Street in Little Falls, it is
632 East Main Street in Little Falls. Yep. And then Dallasville is 78 South Main Street in Dallasville. So we're on the Main Street. That's pretty good for a business, right?
That's a good deal.
It's exciting. So the awning too, I tell everyone it starts where the awning is. And
that's a good way to do it.
That's so when you're coming down Main Street there.
It's a canopy. It's not an awning. Yeah, but okay. Awning is something you can roll up at night. This thing doesn't roll up too well.
Oh, that's true. That's very true. Never thought about that. So, it's right where the canopy starts then. So when you're driving down the road there, and like I said, Lovenheim's Pole Eggs is right next to it. And I don't even know who else is around me. I still have to go and journey that out. I can see CVS across the street. That's
CVS is across the street.
Yeah. So I'll have to Google Maps it later where I am. I'm just trying to figure out.
You could just walk and forget Google.
It's true. I could do that too. So anyway, so that's the update on the store. It's very exciting. A little nerve wracking. Encourage anybody, if you're trying to expand and stuff, just do it. It's once you get through
just do it.
Yeah, in a year you can look back, and it might be a failure, it might be great, but it's worth it.
What the hell did I do?
Exactly. It's worth it, I think. And I think in 5 years, in terms of where I've come in 5 years, I'm like, this is good. So as nerve-wracking as it is, I think it'll be good. So we appreciate everybody's support and everything. And so thanks for listening to the update on Creative Designs by Tiffany.